The living room was filled with late afternoon light, streaming in through the tall curtains and spilling across the rug. A quiet Saturday had turned tense in an instant. Standing near the sofa, a 20-year-old woman in a rust button-down shirt and wide-legged jeans crossed her arms defiantly. Her expression was sharp, her voice raised. Her elder brother sat calmly in an armchair, trying to reason with her. He was 6 years older, patient by nature, and often protective of his younger sister. But today, nothing he said seemed to reach her. "You always think you know better," she snapped, her eyes flashing. "Just because you're older doesn't mean you get to lecture me." Her brother kept his voice low, though irritation showed in the tightness of his jaw. "I'm not lecturing. I'm trying to help you. What you're doing isn't right, and I don't want you to make a mistake." She rolled her eyes dramatically and let out a short, mocking laugh. "Oh, of course. The perfect brother. Always acting like you're some kind of saint. Guess what? I don't care." The words stung. The brother leaned back, hurt but unwilling to argue further. He had always tried to guide her without controlling her, but the blatant disrespect cut deeper than he let on. In the adjoining kitchen, their mother stood still, spoon paused over a simmering pot. She had heard every word. The frustration in her daughter's voice, the mocking tone, and the dismissal of her elder son's place in the family, all of it reached her clearly. She frowned, her heart tightening. She had raised her children with the belief that respect for elders, especially within the family, was non-negotiable. To hear her daughter speak with such sharpness to her brother filled her with disappointment and anger. Placing the spoon down, she wiped her hands on her navy house dress and walked toward the living room. The young woman, still standing in her rust shirt and wide-legged jeans, looked surprised when her mother appeared in the doorway. "That's enough," her mother said firmly, her voice calm but edged with steel. The daughter shifted uneasily but lifted her chin. "I wasn't doing anything." "You were disrespecting your elder brother," the mother said, stepping closer. "I heard every word. In this house, we do not insult one another, especially not the ones who care for us." The young woman crossed her arms tighter. "Why is it always about him? You never take my side. He's not perfect, you know. He nags me all the time." Her mother's eyes narrowed. "That is no excuse for mocking him. You could have spoken respectfully, but instead you chose arrogance." The elder brother sat silently, wishing the ground would swallow him. He didn't want to be the cause of this storm. The daughter, however, wasn't ready to back down. She shifted her weight and muttered under her breath, "Whatever. This is ridiculous." Her mother's lips pressed into a firm line. She had hoped for even the smallest apology, but instead the attitude continued. She stepped directly in front of her daughter, eyes steady. "If you cannot learn respect with words, then you will learn it another way." The girl blinked, startled. "Wait, what?" "Mom," but the decision was made. The living room grew silent except for the ticking of the wall clock. The mother reached for her daughter's wrist, her grip firm but controlled. "No, Mom, please," the girl protested, her voice rising in sudden panic. I'm 20. You can't, you're 20, yes, her mother interrupted, but you're acting like you're 10. And if you act like a child, you'll be disciplined like one. Before she could wriggle free, the mother pulled her into position in the center of the room. Standing tall in her rust shirt and wide-leg jeans, the young woman felt heat rush to her face as her mother produced the household paddle kept tucked in a cabinet. The brother looked away, uncomfortable, but he didn't leave. He knew his mother wasn't doing this out of cruelty but out of deep conviction. "Mom, don't do this in front of him," she begged, her eyes wide with embarrassment. Her mother's voice was steady. "You disrespected him in front of me. You'll face correction in front of him too." Then the paddle came down with a sharp smack across the seat of her wide-leg jeans. She gasped, jerking forward, but her mother's firm hand kept her in place. Another smack. And another. The sound echoed in the room, mingling with the girl's yelps. "Do you think mocking your brother makes you stronger?" Smack. "Do you think age gives you permission to forget manners?" Smack. "Respect is earned, but it is also given freely in this family." Smack, smack, smack. The girl wriggled, her hands flying to cover the sting, but the paddle found its mark again and again. Her rust shirt clung to her as she shifted helplessly, her wide-leg jeans offering little protection. Tears welled in her eyes, humiliation burning almost more than the sting. The elder brother sat frozen, sympathy and relief mixing in his chest. He hadn't wanted this, but he also knew his sister needed to be checked before her attitude grew worse. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the mother lowered the paddle. She kept hold of her daughter's wrist, making sure she faced her squarely. The young woman sniffled, cheeks flushed, her hair disheveled. She couldn't meet her mother's eyes. "Look at me," her mother said firmly. Reluctantly, she lifted her gaze. "You will not speak to your brother with disrespect again," her mother said, her voice calm but unyielding. "He has been nothing but caring toward you. And even if he weren't, he is still your elder, and that deserves basic respect. Do you understand me?" The girl nodded quickly, her voice trembling. "Yes, Mom. I'm sorry." Her mother's expression softened slightly, though her tone remained firm. "Good. Apologize to him now." The young woman turned, wiping her damp eyes, and faced her brother. He was still seated in the armchair, watching with quiet concern. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I shouldn't have spoken to you like that." Her brother gave a small, forgiving smile. "It's okay. I know you didn't mean it. Just remember, I only try to help because I care." The words struck her harder than the paddle had. She nodded, ashamed, realizing how much she had taken his patience for granted. The room fell into a heavy silence. The mother placed the paddle back on the cabinet shelf and returned to her chair, the sternness on her face giving way to calm. The young woman in her rust button-down shirt and wide-leg jeans sank onto the sofa, her pride stung as much as her skin. She hugged her knees, staring at the floor. Her mother finally spoke, her voice softer now. "Discipline is not anger, child. It's love. If I let you continue disrespecting your brother, what would that teach you?" That cruelty has no consequence? That family bonds can be treated carelessly? The girl shook her head, voice small. No, Mom. I understand now. The brother leaned forward, resting his elbows on his knees. I'm not angry with you. I just want us to respect each other. That's all. The young woman looked up at him, guilt heavy in her eyes. I promise it won't happen again. Her mother nodded, satisfied. Good. Then let this be the last time we need to have such a lesson. As the sun dipped lower, painting the living room in golden light, the family sat together quietly. The sting of discipline still lingered, but so did the lesson it carried, and for the young woman in the rust shirt and wide-legged jeans, the memory of that day would remain a turning point, a reminder that respect was not just a word, but a duty that kept her family's